You know, one of our favorite tactics for whitetail hunting is the hang and hunt. That's something you hear us mention a lot. And really all that means is we're packing in our stands, we're hanging them, hunting them, and we're packing them back down and they leave with us. This strategy is extremely deadly for a lot of reasons. I think probably the most deadly reason is just the element of surprise. And a lot of times you're in a tree you've never hunted, the deer aren't expecting it, there's not a lot of ground scent from you going in previously to hang a stand, and it just is an all-around just a great tactic. So I want to take a few minutes today and show you guys how I go about doing it. Firstly, and most importantly by far with a hang and hunt, is safety. You always have to have a safety harness on, and with the safety harness, the most useful tool that we're going to have beyond the stand and the sticks and everything is a lineman's belt. You can't put a price on how useful this thing becomes when you're hanging this. It just allows you to be hands-free. Obviously it keeps you safe. Then let's talk about some of the other gear. You can obviously do this with any ladder stick. You can also do it with screw and steps. We tend to prefer super light sticks that are strap on, whether they're 2 or 3 steps a piece. They allow us to pack them really easy. You can get in and out. They're pretty quiet, obviously light, and they just seem to be pretty effective and they work well for us. The last piece of equipment you're going to need is a rope, just to use to pull gear up the tree while you're hanging on it. The technique for a hang and hunt is going to change a little bit if you're by yourself versus if you have a second person. It makes it a lot easier when you do have a second person. That way they can stay on the ground and hook each stick onto your rope or even your stand, and you can just you never have to come down off the tree. So when you're getting ready to do this, obviously you want to stand and look at your tree first. You want to get an idea of where about in the tree your stand's going to sit. Then you're going to want to hang your sticks either on the left or the right side of your stand. Obviously you don't want to have your sticks going right up the middle where you're going to put that stand, because you're not going to be able to get in and it's not going to be in the right spot. So like on this tree, if I want my stand somewhere right in here, I'm going to hang my sticks either off to the left or off to the right. So once I got my first stick hung, I'm tied in with my lineman's belt, so I'm staying safe. I like to hang the second stick and every stick after that about my kneecap's height off my last step. So in this case, I got my right foot on that step. I'm going to hang my next stick starting with the left step at about my knee height. And that just seems to be a good height for everybody. That way you're not stretching, and that way you're getting the most out of each stick. So usually I'll try to hang my first 2, and this is when I start either having people tie the next stick on or the stand, or you have to start making several trips. When you're doing this by yourself, you can, if you have a long enough rope, you can stagger the sticks onto the rope by tying them, 10, 12 feet apart on the rope, but it can be a little bit of pain, and a lot of times you can make a little bit of noise that you weren't expecting. So sometimes it's just easier to make trips up and down the tree. But in this case, I've got Grant here, so he's going to tie on that next stick for me. So once you've got your last stick hung, whether how high that may be, a lot of times we'll use between 4 and 6 sticks. And what that's going to allow us to do is to get somewhere in that 20-foot range is what we really seem to find that works well, just for being above the deer. There's still a little bit of cover down there. That's just what we've determined works the best. So once you've got your sticks hung, then it's time to start hanging your stand. And what you want to do is hang your stand, obviously, off the right or the left side of your sticks. But one mistake that's made a lot is if you hang your stand too high, you're going to really struggle to get it in. So sometimes adding an extra stick to your arsenal allows you to get in to your stand really easy and safe. So in this case, if I'm as high as I want to go, I'll hang my stand to where the platform is somewhere maybe just slightly above my last stick. That way I can just step right off into it. The last thing to remember is right before you hang your stand, make sure your lineman's belt is above where you're going to have that stand. In this case, I have a bracket for this tree stand here, so I'm going to want to make sure my lineman's belt is above it. That way when I hang the stand, I never have to disconnect from this rope here. Now that I'm in my stand, I'm ready to hunt. The most important thing to remember with all of this and this hang and hunt and hunting in general is just to be safe. So a lot of things can go wrong when you're hanging a tree stand, especially when you're by yourself, so make sure you're staying tied in. This lineman's belt will go a long way. It allows you to hang things hands-free, but most importantly, it's going to keep you safe. Lastly, when you're doing these hanging hunts, don't get in a hurry. Always remember, fast is great, quiet is deadly.